Hey gang, it's Brennan Lee Mulligan telling you that you're about to watch the first episode of Dimension 20, Pirates of Leviathan, a side quest taking place in the world of Fantasy High after sophomore year. It's a 6-episode adventure filled with pirates, magic, and T-Rexes, featuring Matt Mercer, Marisha Ray, B. Dave Walters, Christina Ariel, Abria Iyengar, and Carlos Luna. To watch the rest of it, the Adventuring Party talkbacks, and every other season of Dimension 20, just sign up for Dropout using the link in the description. But for now, enjoy the episode. Me piratical pals! Ha ha ha! Friendship.
Hello, one and all, and welcome to another thrilling Dimension 20 side quest. I am your humble dungeon master, Brennan Lee Mulligan, here with a brand new season of this show set in a place that might seem a little bit familiar to some. Welcome to Pirates of Leviathan. I am so thrilled to be joined by our amazing players for this wonderful side quest. I'll go ahead and introduce them right now. First to the table, Ms. Marisha Ray.
Oh, hello. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for being here. The wonderful Ms. Christina Ariel.
Hi, I'm excited.
Mr. Carlos Luna.
Ahoy! Right? Pirate thing, right?
You're exactly right. That's piratey. Ms. Abria Iyengar.
Yar.
Yes.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was pirates before I got here. That's very exciting.
Right, we are flying by the seat of our pants. You guys have mere seconds to make those characters. Mr. Matthew Mercer.
Ahoy! Ah, shit, already taken. Hi.
And finally, Mr. B. Dave Walters.
Thank you for having me, and I hope I pass the audition.
Yeah.
For those watching, you maybe noticed that we are not in our regularly scheduled dimensional dome. Indeed, if you are watching this years from now, congratulations on consuming a piece of legacy media from the time of COVID. We are all very far distant from each other, safely recording in the confines of our lovely homes, able to reach out to each other, not with physical arms or hands, but with the power of story itself. Which brings us to the business at hand. We indeed are setting forth on an adventure, not just an adventure, a voyage on the far seas. And for the first time in Dimension 20 history, we are returning to a world, but through a different window. For indeed, in the world of Spire, a land of myth and legend and high fantasy, we are abandoning the far-off land of Solace and its adventuring academies, and instead flying over the vast Celestine Sea. Night and stars fade as the sun rises over the cresting waves, lighting the sky with red and orange and blue as gulls caw. Gulls far out on the open sea, where could they nest? And we see over the waves the cresting mammoth, the Leviathan, a behemoth city of shipwrecks lashed together to and fro, miles of wood and spires and masts and rigging and sails. The gulls fly overhead as we see flying Aarakocra with bandanas and pirate clothing, gold jewelry clanging around them, rigging and lashing things together. Up on the vast helm, the massive palace of the Pirate King, whose head is now stuck with a dagger to the central mast in the galliard, in the city square. We see deep below the Maelstrom's maw, the giant mouth of the city, swallowing up wreckage and captured ships to tear apart for spare parts. And we see a metropolis. More than 1 million pirates call this city home. Leviathan, the jewel of the sea, the greatest marketplace for stolen goods in all of the world of Spire, and a home for all the hearties in the wide, wide sea. We descend through Leviathan, through the busy streets of Galliard, where drunkards sway and merrymaking can be heard, and move through the city's streets all the way to the heart of commerce, here in the neighborhood of Aftward, halfway between the marketplaces of Galliard and the aristocratic seat of power in the fabled Poop City. We see, so that's the name, that's fine. We see the neighborhood of Aftward. Aftward, of course, is a home to a different kind of marketplace, not retail locations, of course, but these are the changing houses and mercantile estates, warehouses and places where goods are not merely bought for consumption, but bought for sale and resale. Large crates move backward and forward, and large amounts of money are exchanged here in this clerk and banking neighborhood. We move now to a trading house floor for the Crescent Moon Trading Company. Through a grimy and yet still very expensive window, we arrive at the trading house floor, where we see an open warehouse that has been converted into several desks where various merchants are taking meetings with various clients to arrange for the shipping of cargo. Here's where the real money is made. These merchants have understood for quite some time that to work with pirates is better than to work against them. At a beautiful wrought and gilded mahogany desk with a beautiful leather pad on top, fresh ink in a crystal decanter with a long quill pen, we see a beautiful half-elven gentleman wearing red velvet and white lace, cravat, blonde hair slicked back across his head, cut into a very fashionable coif, with a rapier at his side that is gilded, but has clearly seen some use, unlike many of the rapiers with accompanying the merchants in this place. Mr. Langley Sheffield Harrington looks at a small family of Kenku in front of him, a mother and father with 3 young children wearing simple, coarse linen pirate clothes. They look like a family of deckhands from Mast Hearth. Their papers are scattered out on the desk in front of them as Mr. Sheffield Harrington goes over them, reviewing these documents here, signing things back and forth. Mr. Sheffield Harrington is accompanied by an individual that punctuates all of the merchant lord's statements with a certain muscular gravitas. B. Dave Walters, could you kindly describe the gentleman standing behind this merchant?
I would just like to say I wanted to stealth into this place, and my very first roll of the campaign was a natural 20, so there's nowhere to go but down. Marcy the Typhoon is 8 foot 350 pounds of lean lethality, and he stands there looming over Monsieur Langley Sheffield Harrington, looking down his nose at these wee Kenku, giving an impressive flex and just oddly tapping the hilt of his ecloir on occasion, should the Lord say he want birds for dinner.
You see that Mr. Sheffield Harrington reviews something. You see the Kenku family sort of has their feathery hands clasped as they're looking up. And the half-elven merchant looks up, regards them for a moment, looks up at you, Marcide, and says, "My dear Marcide, I've been reviewing these documents as diligently as I can, and I am left to the unfortunate assumption that, though indeed it is a heartbreaking tragedy," and here he turns his face to the Kenku family, "that your homes were lost in a fire, this was in fact a force majeure, or as we say, an act of God or gods. I don't mean to inform you of your religious conviction. And as such, the the policy will pay out to the trading company as the owners of this domicile. Although I certainly wish you well and best of fortunes in securing a new, I assume, nest. Where do you live? And you see that the Kenku family looks up. The father sort of speaks up and says, "Right, sir, but we know that we was only renters, but certainly we understood that there was something that in the case that a place were to burn down or something like that, that there would be some recompense. It weren't our fault at all." And you see that Mr. Sheffield Harrington says, "Of course, it was not your fault, but nor was it the fault of the Crescent Moon Trading Company. Certainly, Marcid, help me out here. Is it right that our trading company should be forced, with our margins being as thin as they are, to purchase a new home for this family? I'm trying to do the right thing here."
Oh, not at all, sir. I mean, we'd go broke if we had to pay off every down-on-the-luck sob story that came through these doors.
You see that Mr. Sheffield Harrington goes, "Yes, broke is exactly right." He starts to unwrap a gilded chocolate bonbon. He's like, "We would be the degree of misfortune. Well, we have to make a living somehow. A scrumptious bonbon."
While he's doing this, I look down at the young Kenku and I'm like, "Excuse me, you lot speak by mimicry, right? Like you repeat words you heard."
Right. It's a bit of a nervous tick that we repeat words we heard, yes, but not generally all the time.
I lean down and I'm like, "I'm going to teach you some words that be useful. Alms for the poor. Alms for the poor. And also, no, sir, I didn't just filch your coin purse. Wasn't me."
You see the dad looks over, the mom who's got sort of a little peasant's bandana tied around her head, stands up and puts her baby in the dad's arms and goes, "Right here, sir. I understand that perhaps the laws are that you don't need to help us none, but I'll tell you this right now. You don't need to disrespect us. It's bad enough that you're not going to help us, but I won't stand for this, and we won't be."
When she does this, I just draw the trident and I just slam it down butt first. And I'm like, "Look, I was on the receiving end of a force de jour. What was that word you say there? Force majeure. Went to the bottom of the very blue sea, I did, and came up with nothing but me life in this here trident. And rebuilt all of it with the generosity, of course, of Monsieur Langley Sheffield Harrington. You might still fly one day, little birdie."
You see that the dad just leans over to the mom. The mom looks like she's squaring up to do something dumb, and you see that the dad leans in and it's like, you see, he says, "Bridget, it's all right. It's all right. We'll find something to do. Thank you, Master the Typhoon and Monsieur Sheffield Harrington." And you see that the dad kind of shepherds them out of there with the mom still squaring up and puffing her chest out. And, "I swear, these merchants, they're worse than honest pirates." And she shoves them out. You see that as the family leaves, you see that Sheffield Harrington looks up at you and says, "Marcid, you have a way of communicating to these common folk that's just so clear. Honestly, whatever we're paying you, we should double it, because you just get the point across in a way that I find escapes me most of the time."
Well, sometimes you just need the proper punctuation. And I just kind of tap the trident twice.
Yes, you see it says, "Quite a point" at the end of the sentence.
You are witty indeed as witty as you are intelligent, sir.
Or more like 3 points, because or maybe it's an ellipsis, because The joke's kind of getting away from me, but you see what I mean.
Definitely landed, sir. Very clever.
Marching up to you in a kind of sort of paramilitary, where it's this naval uniform, but it's the private navy of the Crescent Moon Trading Company. This sort of bearded wood elf who has got like one of his eyes is a little bit milky, and there's some like clearly healed wounds. This guy's been through some stuff, but otherwise a very sort of like stoic, bearded wood elf. Handsome looking, sort of dark of hair, has a sort of sunken eyes a little bit, walks up. He's got a full like flintlock musket. There's a magical bayonet, like a rune-covered bayonet on the end of it. Walks up, and you recognize this as Lieutenant Mardris. As he walks up to you, he arrives at the desk, nods to you. Marseed, pleasure to see you as always.
Captain.
You see, he looks over at Sheffield Harrington and says, Monsieur, we just received word. And go ahead and give me an insight check, if you'd be so kind.
Hand to God, that was a second natural 20. So now there's really nowhere to go but down. I've expended all luck and fortune in the first 5 minutes on things that are meaningless. But that's the hand of God. That's what happened. So, you know.
Save it.
Gotcha.
Save it, beat it.
It's true. First fight. 1, 1, 2, 1, 1. Yep. Yep. Oh, wait, I guess with my bonuses, sorry, insight, that's a 25.
A 25. Well, a nat 20, my God.
Look.
You catch something here. And look, you've been working for Sheffield Harrington for a little while now. But I would say probably not longer than probably 6 months to a year or something like that, probably at the most. You know, Marcy.
That's 10 years in pirate time.
Right, exactly. Mardris is pretty good at on a nat 20, I feel like I need to give you a lot. On a nat 20, Mardris almost hides it, but stops himself from saying something in front of you. There's something that's something that he knows and that Langley knows that is unknown to you. Also, on a nat 20, I'll go ahead and say you've always gotten the vibe from this dude that there's a lot more to his past than you understand. And in this moment where he begins to talk, you get the impression that this dude is not from Falinel, is not from the Elven homeland. The way he talks, you suddenly get the impression of this dude that maybe he grew up on Leviathan, which calls a lot into question about this military that he belongs to. You see, he catches him, he goes, Monsieur Sheffield Harrington, again, clocks you, stops himself, goes back and says, we passed over the site, I would say roughly 2 hours ago, and came up blank. It looks like it's gone, perhaps recovered some other time, some other way. You see Sheffield Harrington gets a rare look. He's a pretty, full of himself, debonair guy. But he retreats back into this moment where you suddenly see that this is like a brilliant dude you're dealing with and goes, I see. Well, it looks like the easier way to solve this has escaped us for the time being. Does it seem possible that this asset may have moved in the distant past, or is it more like, and you see that he gets interrupted, and on that nat 20 continuing, he gets interrupted in a way where Mardris can tell he's like fumbling for something and helps him get there. He says, very likely that it was recent, perhaps as recent as today. Every indication was that it was there as we were approaching. You see there is that sort of like
With respect, my lords, I realize you got your privileged business and whatnot, but you ain't got to tiptoe around phone on my account. Perhaps I could be of some assistance, and if not, loose lips sink ships.
Of course. And we wouldn't want to sink any ships now, would we? Marseed, you have requested oh so politely for an invitation into a deeper circle of trust, and I must say I'm inclined to grant you access. Lieutenant Mardris was referring to an asset that we were looking to acquire by means of, some operatives. The operatives have come up with their hands empty. There was a object of some deep value to us, I don't know how to say it, on the ocean floor, and Leviathan would have passed over it earlier this morning during the wee hours. Now, we've come to find that it's not there, and we must ask ourselves if it has been missing, which we think is unlikely, or perhaps if some enterprising souls within the Leviathan might have gotten their hands on it. This asset is of great importance to the trading company. You wouldn't happen to know of any local junkers, scavengers, salvagers that might be able to point us in the right direction, would you?
I only know all of them, my lord. And I also have some capability at locating objects on my own, if I can get a description of what we're after.
We're looking for some wreckage of a shipwreck. I don't know that I want to go into too much detail, but is there someone specializing in undersea acquisition that you trust?
Trust is a strong word, but I've worked with effectively in the past,
Well, my dear Marseed, let us away. And you see that looks like Sheffield Harrington gets his stuff together. Mardris gets some merchant marines, and they are going to follow you to a contact of yours, which is going to bring us. Oh, go for it. Yeah.
And I do, like, as they sort of, like, gather, like, this party here, I'm like, hey, we don't want to think that we're coming to invade and shut it down, all right? We need to come in smooth.
You see that Sheffield looks over at Mardris. Mardris goes, of course, Marseed. These are merely to accompany us through the dangerous streets of Leviathan. When we arrive at your contacts, we will lessen the size of our party.
Right. It'd be a tragedy if something were to happen to you out here in the shady bits, Come on. Try not to clink your boots too loud,
You see that Sheffield Harrington turns to Mardris and says, Lieutenant, I believe you have that business at the Gold Gardens, yes? And you see that the lieutenant nods, and Sheffield Harrington says, very well, Marseed, lead the way.
No, please. I was just going to say I do, in fact, lead them to my dear Myrtle's establishment. However, when I'm leaving, I keep an eye out for the Kinku. I want to know where they end up, at least what direction they go, so I could try and find them later.
Awesome. You see the Kenku. Oh, because they were dealing with their burned down house, you have their address, or at least where their house used to be. So you know the neighborhood they lived in. And actually, you see that Sheffield Harrington puts that address back in his desk. He locks it, but that's not the biggest obstacle to you in the world. And locks his desk up. As you depart from there, we wend our way away through Leviathan, following through the streets, going down through the darkness, all the way until we reach the waterline, where the sea laps in through the very bottom of the Leviathan. We're gonna stop. As you approach Marseed, you see, when you get, you're in this deep, lantern-lit, subterranean ship's passageway, and see... Marseed, are you nervous about this?
No, it's just plague rats, you see, down in here. One nip on your toe, take your leg clean off.
You see that your trident of warning speaks up. You can hear her in your mind. Allison, your trident goes, Marcid, I'm very worried. If we go into here, there's a very great likelihood that you could die. You could drown. You can't breathe the water, you know. And the potions could wear off.
No, we'll be fine, Allison. We ain't drowned yet. We won't drown today, although I hate the water.
If you feel yourself begin to drown, you know what you must do. Scream for help as loud as you can.
No, you swim is what I must do, Allison. I must swim if I think I'm...
I can't swim. I'm an object.
You don't need to breathe. I do very much tiptoe over every puddle and things, which is difficult, but I try and make it seem like I'm just being sneaky. I'm like, they put tripwires down here, you know, one false move, right?
You see, you get to the place where the puddle becomes an open, rotted floor that goes into dark water, and the aquatic neighborhood of Jetsam, you and the other Marines are past potions of water breathing, gulp, 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 with a splash. Marcid and the merchant Marines of the Crescent Moon Trading Company leap into the water, and we cut to a vast shrine. The rotting wood of Jetsam, the bottommost part of the bulk of the Leviathan, where the wood is pushed into the seawater deep below the surface. This neighborhood is cold and dark. The shadow of the bulk of the city above it blots out any type of light other than small little street lamps in the rotting wood of bioluminescent algae and faintly glowing coral. Within a vast chamber, we see floating kelp mixed with holes in the wall and floor where the actual ocean itself can be seen. Passing shapes flicker, and this place is filled not only with the glow of algae, but also braziers of undersea flame, blue watery fire. And in the back, a throne of coral, sharp and spiny. We see here in this temple to the dark goddess of the undersea strange relics, piles of shipwrecks, debris sorted into glittering silver and gold, and perhaps mysteries far greater still. And the mistress of this shrine awaits. Abria, could you please describe your character for us?
Myrtle is hovering in the back of this temple. She moves slowly and catches just a little bit of the blue brazier light, and you see this dark teal green that flashes with silvery blue scales. And the top half of her is fairly humanoid with these long beta fish-like fins, sort of creating this big crown and long tendrils coming off of her elbows. And then the bottom half of her extends into this long, almost eel-like bottom. And she's 12 feet from top to tip. And she sort of glides around and wraps herself around her treasures. And as she kind of slinks away from the brazier light, you can just see two little pinpricks of golden light from the center of her pupils.
As Myrtle swims throughout her combo temple / storefront,
it's a temple.
Times have been not as it's been a little while since you found a really good shipwreck to scavenge supplies from. You found one earlier today a bunch of summoned like eels and sharks and stuff helped you get this stuff up out of the ocean, but you haven't like had even a minute to go through it yet. So there's just a huge chunk of like the wood from the hull of the ship and some chests and stuff. I'm not gonna lie, it was a smaller ship with mostly like dry goods and cargo that have spoiled and fishes have gotten to it. It was not like the haul you were looking for, but there are some chests that you haven't opened yet and stuff like that. But that's all in a corner. Your sort of goods for display are here. And you see over in a corner a giant barnacle, a huge like crustacean thing opens, and a barnacle merfolk emerges from the shell. So it's like long tendril comes out of this barnacle that is fixed to the wall, but has the torso, arms, and head with some little antenna on it of your acolyte, who is a barnacle merfolk named Rory. You see Rory looks and says, "Hello, Mistress of Darkness. Do you need help sorting through the wreckage from below?"
Yes, Rory. This is even a meager donation, a gift, an alm to our dark goddess is appreciated. So, and then she just kind of scoops up a big pile of trash and sort of litters him in it. Yes, sort through, find the prizes.
Yes. Oh, okay. I love prizes, and I also revere the Queen of the Undersea, unbelievable Mistress of Storms. Hooray, distraction! And you see that Rory begins to file through trash. You see approaching, coming into, you hear sort of approaching footsteps coming towards your shop. Or not footsteps, I should say, but the bubbling of air breathers approaching. Approaching the front of your shop, Marcide.
I would say something to them before we get there. Also, just for the record, I would kill or die for Rory. As we're approaching the shop, I just look back at them and I'm like, mind your manners, lads. They call her Myrtle the bitch for a reason. If you slight her, she'll bury you down in the silt.
You see one of the older pirates in kind of like a naval uniform who's sort of like, they have this sort of little air thing that appears around the nose and mouth from the potion. You see he just goes like, they call her what?
I think you heard me, lad, and if you didn't, you will soon.
Okay. You see Mr. Sheffield Harrington says, "Very well, Myrtle the bitch, let's go." And you see that the pirate looks over at like another one of the guards and is like, are we allowed to say that? Is it part of our official?
No, that is our word. You don't get to use it.
Oh, good. I was not comfortable, so that's fine with me. I'd prefer not to. You see another pirate says, "Wait, are you swear words? That's where you draw the line? I watched you burn a village."
Anyone could have burned that village, all right. Now, stone face. And I just kind of slap him in the chest. I'm all like, chin up, stiff upper lip, right?
Myrtle, entering your temple is an old friend, Marcide the Typhoon, accompanied by Monsieur Sheffield Harrington, and I'll say 2 other guards with him.
She looks at the people she doesn't recognize, and then her eyes alight on Marcide, and she immediately rushes him and is sort of like in that eel way, like wrapping herself around him and gets weirdly close to his face, like, "You're still alive. That's fine. How are you, Marcide?"
I say to her in primordial, "I'm here on business, love. The fun stuff will have to wait."
Fine. And she sort of unwraps herself and then like drifts back towards her stuff. Welcome to my temple.
You see that Monsieur Sheffield Harrington looks over at this and is like, "Marcide, you didn't mention that we were making a social call as well." And Rory, who's like sifting through trash in the corner, says, "Whenever Marcide comes over, I hide in my shell for a good 20 to 45 minutes.
I grab the trident and I just throw it and like impale it in the wall next to Rory's.
He just sucks into a shell.
Yeah.
He's a good lad.
We're here on business, Mistress Merle. We need someone to locate something from the depths of the sea, and I've been told you're the best there is. And I do give her a wink.
Thank you. Yes, I love scavenging the depths for alms to my dark mistress. Anything I find, I am willing to part with for a price. So what do you need finding?
You see, Monsieur Sheffield Harrington purses his lips, looks over at one of there's like a floating vase with runes on it, that's sort of like attached to a piece of kelp that's like holding it in the storefront. And you see he looks and finds a little like chunk, a little chip of coral with a price written on it. And he's like, yes, quite a temple you've got going here.
Do you have a problem with the way I serve my god? Because I can drag you down to meet her if you want.
I've stepped in it, and that's my fault. Your worshipfulness. If anything, I'm stunned because I wish that more religious organizations worked this way. It's a way that I'm intimately familiar with.
Well, they all work this way, just some aren't quite as overt as dear Merle.
You see, Sheffield Harrington approaches you, Myrtle, and says, Your Eminence, Your Holiness, I was wondering about the possibility that you might have recovered some manner of salvage or wreckage, perhaps within the past 6 to 12 hours. I can't help but dart my eyes over to the corner and notice that you seem to have some fresh findings here.
Oh, those are just, a trifle for Rory. And she kind of tries to block it a little bit. Can I do an insight check to see?
Yeah, give me an insight check.
She said, just a general sense. Oh, I got the opposite of Dave's roll. That's a 3. I got an 11.
You go to look at this dude and do your like see witch, like I'm gonna look into your soul, and you see he says, I believe a price could be arranged, snaps his fingers, 4 more guards drag floating behind them in the water an enormous Crescent Moon chest. He says, we will of course be paying cash as time is of the essence.
Oh, well, yeah. She completely drops the axe and her fins kind of calm down a bit. What specifically are you looking for? I just pulled this wreckage in earlier today and I haven't had a chance to go through it yet. And Rory sorts so slowly for a boy with nothing else to do but be on a wall and touch stuff.
I'm sorry, mistress. Are you and Marcy done? Or can I come out?
I do go and I just yank the trident out of the wall and I'm all like, in Primordial, I say to Rory, we're going to have to discuss when you keep things to yourself, Rory.
He pokes his head out of the little opening in his shell and you see he goes,
well, I'm sorry, there's a lot I don't understand about romance between other people. Everyone in my species can only breed with someone if they're within 50 feet.
I mean, all species can only breed within 50 feet, Rory.
Fair.
Yeah, right.
And Myrtle is cracking up at this conversation that the rest of the group can't understand. Just watch.
I do. I have been here before, even though I deeply hate getting in the water. I would like to look around to see if I clock something that looks valuable, because I actually may help her try and hide it if I see it.
Go ahead and give me a perception roll.
That's a 24, and I'm eerily effective right now. So now I'm like, I'm really afraid of our first fight. Yeah, but as I go and I like yank this out, I do sort of like scan to see if I see what I think they want.
Cool. You see that Sheffield Harrington says, "My dear Myrtle, would it be all right if my men were to browse?"
I can make allowances for Marcide, but do you trust the others?
You see that he rests a hand on the giant chest and says, "Also, could we put this down somewhere? We have several others like it outside."
Go ahead, take your time. If there's anything I can help you with, just let me know.
Just roll. Okay, Marcide, you see a couple of Sheffield Harrington's guys go over to the wreckage. You see that there's some stuff in here. You definitely spot what they're looking for. There is a chest in here, which is still locked. And you see that one of them goes to like undo the lock. They're having a hard time because they're air breathers as well, and they're like floating around underwater. They go to this chest. You see them messing with it. One of them pops the top, brings it over to Sheffield Harrington. You see that there's just some waterlogged, algae-rotted something wrapped in canvas. On a 24, you see that all Sheffield Harrington has to do is open a little flap of the canvas. His eyes go wide. He closes it and motions for the men to close the chest. And he says, "What incredible good fortune. My dear Myrtle, it seems that we have become rather lucky. This is actually the item we are looking for. Would it be possible for us to make an exchange?"
Let's talk price. Yes, we found your artifact. What was it, if I may inquire?
A family heirloom of tremendous sentimental value. You see that he snaps his fingers for the people to open this. They open the chest, undo the rotted canvas on it, and you see this is a fragment of almost like a cameo or like a fresco, like relief. It's like a partial statue carved into a section of wall. You see it is of a beautiful young woman looking up to the sky in this dappled blue-white marble, looking up, clearly an air breather, gazing up, and then cracked around the edges from it being like moved out of a wall or something. Obviously magical.
I very slowly approach it, and I just hold my hand up, and I'm like, "My lord, may I? It will help me find it if it should go missing, and perhaps others like it."
Please, Marcide.
And I do just like slowly touch it, fully expecting to be shocked to death.
Give me a wisdom saving throw.
Ah!
Oh no.
Let's see. Hang on. It's my luck might have just run. No, it's holding. That's an 8. Wait, hang on. I looked at the wrong thing. Sorry. Now I'm nervous. That is an 18.
18. You feel rumbling in your chest, like when loud fireworks go off, but of distant thunder.
Well, I hate the water.
Rude.
Man, there's 2. Oh, sorry, what'd you say? Sorry.
Did you learn nothing from your time at the bottom? Your glorious moments of fleeting life? It's the last bubbles of air drifted to the surface. And you joined my mistress's dark embrace. And she's crying in the water at this point. There's denser drops.
I learned the only thing worth entering the sea for is money. And then I turn and look at her and say, "And treasure."
Incredible. You see that Sheffield Harrington looks up and says, "Your worshipfulness, time is of the essence, and these potions don't last forever. We'd love to strike a deal with you right now, if we could. Name your price, if you'd be willing."
Yeah, how many chests did he come in with?
He has one here, but he said he has more outside.
Yeah. She's gonna gesture at whoever's holding this chest to open it, and like not even make eye contact, just to get a little sneaky peek at how much loot we're looking at.
This chest has 4,000 gold pieces in it.
Oh. And she looks at the chest, then looks back at him, and then starts fingering the like large pearl in her choker. And I would like to cast Identify on like whatever this object is that's worth so many thousands of gold that I'm about to get, that she's like almost drooling.
You hear whispers coming back. This is the daughter of storms, daughter of storms, daughter of storms. And you see an image of the distant mythic past of a princess running across the oceans, her feet touching the surface of the water, and a storm cloud that begins to take the face of an old bearded king, reaching a grasping hand after this girl fleeing on the surface of the ocean. Frozen in stone, this is an artifact. It is an object of deific power, and it can call storms when it needs to.
And I think she starts muttering in Primordial again, just so Marcide can hear. There's only one rule. She only gives us one rule. Nothing that affects the sea or the weather on it. Ah, fuck. Oh, maybe she'll be happy with the gold. Probably not. And she begins again in common. And what if I told you that this artifact is no longer for sale?
I would say that the chests outside are filled with platinum.
Myrtle, come on. In Primordial, I'm like, you could retire. You could build her a proper shrine. Please don't find a conscience now. I'll help you steal it back.
4 more chests and we have a deal. And she sticks out her hand.
Done! You see, he shakes, the chests come in, and they take the object. Sheffield Harrington looks at you, Marcide, and says, Marcide, we have another pressing engagement. I believe that Lieutenant Marjorie should be done with his little journey.
Right, I need to go and dry off.
As you leave, Myrtle, you look at all of your gold, platinum, everything. You feel the water get colder. The floor. And the chests sink away into darkness. And your temple is filled suddenly with a 15-foot tall face. And you see Umberly herself in spectral light go, there was one.
I'm gonna get it back and destroy it.
Well, do I know you will get it back? Dark forces are at work in Leviathan, and even now, I can feel them. And from there, we cut to 5, 6, 7, 8. We flash from Jetsam all the way across the city to the Gold Gardens, the premier venue of all things pleasurable, entertaining, and in good taste. Within the Gold Gardens, there are hookah lounges and giant cabarets and tap dances, places with fiddle music and tavern, massage parlors, private rooms for those that wish for a more intimate audience, giant rowdy bars where some where fighting is recommended, some where fighting is not allowed, to the dealer's choice. We arrive, though, in the heart of the campus of the Gold Gardens. Small tables with candlelight. This is up in the Galliard district, the red light district. We see boom, alchemical spotlights hit the stage. A drum roll starts, a band leader hits the baton, and we hear an announcer come over with a magically enhanced voice. A little bit of thaumaturgy enhances their voice, and you could hear them say, "Ladies and gentlemen and persons of all persuasions, gather round the moment you've all been waiting for, the pearl of the Gold Gardens, sultry songstress of the Seraphim. You know her, you love her, you've all been waiting." You see one old pirate who's got like missing some teeth. He's like 90 years old. He's got a little bandana. Goes like, "I've been saving up my whole life to be able to come and see her perform." The one, the only, Barbarella Sarsaparilla Gangland! Christina, what does this adoring audience see as the curtains part?
As the curtains start to part, you see a very buxom lady standing on the stage, and she's got these gorgeous golden wings and a dress that's got gold and black, and it goes down, and it almost looks like the colors are swimming together. It's really delightful. As the spotlight comes up, you see Barbarella. That's me, but you can call me Bob. So, they say the devil on your shoulder, a bad influence. I bet they've never met an angel like this. I'm the pearl of the necklace, the jewel of the sea, the goddess of Golgotha. Baby, that's me, the mistress of seduction in a palace by the sea. Drop a couple dragons if you want time with me. So strap in, sailor. It's my boat to row. The goddess of Golgotha says, baby, let's go. The goddess of Golgotha, on with the show.
The crowd goes wild. You see that? That was incredible, Christina. You see the old pirate in the back? His eyes go wide. He blushes. And you see he goes, and starts to fall back out of his chair. And you see someone goes like, you see the proprietor of this place, Gardy O'Brien, the half-orc Asmar impresariex of this full establishment, looks over and goes, "What? Someone get that a medic? Can we heal this?" And you see the old pirate goes, "No, this is how I want to go. Let it happen." And you see Bob, your celestial radiance, your wings extending, motes of light. You see this little old pirate on the strength of your song alone. Only you can see it, but almost like Looney Tunes style, a like little angelic version of him kind of like floats out of his body, halo wings. He's got a little harp, and you see only to you goes, "I have never felt a greater sense of gratitude. The best show, brava, brava," and begins to fly away. You see that Gardy looks at this dead pirate's body and goes, "Right, not again. Okay, it's happened again. The song was beautiful enough that someone passed. Let's get someone in here." And the audience roars. The band strikes up. Incredible show. Bob, after your performance, as you are walking off backstage, you can see Cullen, this dwarven bartender with he's got a mohawk and the shaved sides of his heads have cool dwarven tattoos on them. He points at you and starts making your favorite drink for you. And a beautiful, sort of magenta and then with deep purple indigo hair, curling horns coming back, tiefling. You see that she's got a little beauty mark tattoo, black tattoo in a little heart on her cheek, bright red lipstick, wearing clothing. You know that there is a cantrip active. It is the only thing that keeps the clothes she's wearing in place on her body. It is a force of magic to keep her decent as she runs throughout the Gold Gardens. She runs over to you. This is your best friend, Trixie. She runs up to you and goes, Doll, you were incredible. Your voice, oh my God, when you hit that high C, I thought the whole place was going to go. You're so special. I'm so glad that I wasn't on shift and I could come see your performance, Doll.
I only lost one customer. It's an occupational hazard at this point. But, it was really nice. He stopped and said bye on the way out.
Oh my God, that's so special. Honestly, what you do for these guys is a gift. Honestly, I wish that I could have the people that I work with. And you see that she looks over and waves at someone. You see that Gardy walks over at this point and goes, Darling, Bobby, oh, my sweetheart, incredible performance. We love it. Listen, I was wondering if you wouldn't mind going up again at the midnight show. We have a bunch of tourists coming in from our house, from High Court and Solace, and they just showed up. Do you think a double performance, you pull it off? I don't want to ruin your voice, whatever you feel comfortable, yeah?
Well, I really was planning tonight to study my books because I think I'm really, really close to becoming a pirate.
Darling, Bobby, listen, piracy is... You've got a real gift, lovey. Your voice, it's sensual, it's holy. It connects us with the primordial and the celestial. Darling, I know that you have this dream to be a pirate, and ultimately, look, I support you, whatever it is you want to do, but I can't help but feel like, well, maybe I'm just sad because the thought of losing you breaks my heart, lovey.
But just think about it. I could sing on the sea, and I'd just have so much fun and so many adventures. But if you need me here, I can stay. I don't have to go now.
You see that Trixie gets on the other side of Gardy and puts her hands on Gardy's shoulders and is like, Gardy, come on, don't be such a strict disciplinarian. Why can't Bob go on an adventure on the high seas? I bet she'd learn a bunch of new songs. Come on. But listen, we can take you upstairs and convince you if you want. And you see that she puts her mouth close to their ear and goes, haven't you ever wanted a devil and an angel on each shoulder? You see Gardy sort of raises their eyebrow and says, listen, if we get 20 minutes free, I'm not opposed to it. We can all put each other on each other's tabs, yeah? But for right now, let's focus. We've got some work to do. You see Gardy moves away to go handle some more business, and you see Trixie looks over at you and says, listen, I was talking to some people that might know some other, pirates that are looking for crew. I know that you've been wanting to go on an adventure for a while. I'm going to organize a meet as soon as I can, but I got to go upstairs. I got this guy coming by my room. This guy is loaded. I've been seeing him for a little while. So I'm just going to go take care of that. I'll be like 20 minutes and I'll meet you down here to tell you what I found out, okay?
Just make sure that you say something really nice that makes him feel good about himself, because if he thinks a really happy thought while, the stuff, then he's gonna feel more inclined to like you.
Sweetie, listen, the guys who come for you, I'm sure, want that. The guys who come for me want me to beat the absolute shit out of them and call them nasty names. So, 6 in one, half dozen in the other. But honestly, we should switch up sometime, because I'd like to see you try to do my thing and I do your thing, because that would be, I don't know, I think that would be fun.
Huh?
You see, she gives you a kiss on each cheek and says, I'll be right back down. She scurries off to go to her room. Bob, as you are in your dressing room, beautiful vanity, flowers, notes. People are coming by to drop off fan mail, more flowers, chocolates, gifts, all manner of things from people that have watched your show. It's been about like an hour and Trixie is not back. And Trixie is not normally like this. Trixie is, the Gold Garden is a very small campus. What's on Bob's mind as Trixie does not return?
I'd like to go and talk to Gordy.
Gardy pokes their head in. Yes, lovely. What's wrong?
I haven't heard from Trixie in a minute, and we're supposed to spend some time together. Could you check on her?
Lovely. I'd love to. I'm a little busy. Hey, here, take this. You see, Gardy hands you the key up to the suite, up to Trixie's suites. I'll run. Come, let me know if she's not up in her rooms. All right.
All right.
As you're investigating the key here, are you going to go check on Trixie's bed chambers, her boudoir?
Yes, I'd like to go and check on Trixie. I'm going to go and I'm going to tap on the door.
Tap, tap, tap. No response.
I'm going to unlock the door. Trixie, are you decent?
You open the door. In the center of the room, you see that there's a beautiful like mosaic stained glass lamp, like a hanging candle holder made of stained glass that has strange runes on it and is broken and shattered on the ground. Very clearly magical.
Trixie, I'm starting to get the feeling that you're not in here.
You go and find Gardy. What I'd like you to do, and you see they scoop up the broken lamp, wrap it in a little bandana, and hand it to you and they say, forget about the second show tonight. You know Trixie best. You know her friends. You know her likes, her dislikes, where she might have gone. Take this to my friend. And you see they write down a name on a piece of paper. There's an elder pirate up at the Ramble. Yeah? They will know what this is. They will know how to find it. And they might be able to use some kind of magic to find Trixie. Okay? Can you do me that favor? All right.
I can do that.
All right, lovely. They give you a kiss on each cheek. By the way, you were wonderful tonight. Incredible. Be safe. Try to do this errand without sort of getting a taste for adventure more largely in your mouth and getting sort of addicted to the lifestyle. You know what? Honestly, one task at a time. Just go talk to my friend, and we'll worry about the rest later. All right?
Sounds lovely.
You depart, and as you depart, we go up through the sky into the neighborhood of Rigaba, which is the rigging huge gondolas full of buildings, houses, windows, all manner of places that are suspended in the thousands and thousands of sails that propel the city of Leviathan. We move away from the gold gardens to, in the morning light, scintillating in the sun, the ropes hanging, the creaking of the jibs and boom arms of this neighborhood ever present. We go to a house with no door. Instead, the entrance is a little sliding curtain on a balcony because nobody needs to access this house from the ground because everybody who lives here can fly. Within a kitchen where a lovely little breakfast of bread and butter and things are being made, we see a wonderful family of blue and yellow parrot Aarakocra. A mother, a father, a group of siblings, the eldest of which is only 18, and we see that the family is, some members of the family are singing as they wake up and get to work in a round. They're singing a little happy song. There's a big symbol of Sol, the sun god, up on the wall, and no hooks or pirate or treasure to be found. This is a family of honest sailors, and as they sing, Begin, begin, begin each day with joyful hearts. The day ends well, that joyful starts. Begin, begin, begin,
Begin.
each day with joyful. Marisha, could you please describe your character for us?
Yeah, you see, just this kind of scrappy looking, young, youthful pirate, not pirate, a parrot person who loves and respects Soul, the family's chosen deity. We all love Soul just so much. That's the joke we say in the Biscotto family. And you see a teenage Eric Hokra, who has her feathers kind of pulled back in a messy ponytail, and she's got a little bit of like molting happening, but she doesn't like to talk about it, so try to be respectful. She's trying to clear it up, but you know, puberty. And she's got kind of scrappy pirate-looking garb, but her parents think she's just going through a phase, as well as braces that look like they were kind of mishmashed together to make braces. But it's just kind of wire and some chunks of wood that are kind of wedged in between certain teeth. This is Sunny Biscotto, and Sunny starts picking up all of the dishes and looks at her mom, Polly, and Roger, and says, "Is everybody done with breakfast? You guys know I have to go and do some missionary work into town for wonderful Soul."
You see that your mom, Polly, turns around and says, "Oh my goodness, that's so exciting, Sonny. Yes, is everybody done with breakfast?" And all your four siblings go, "Yes, Mom." And you see that she says, "And what do we say when we're done with breakfast?" And you see that all your siblings put their hands together and go, "Thank you, Soul, for this wonderful breakfast and for our wonderful lives, keeping the city of Leviathan with wind in its sails and sun on its decks. Amen."
Oh my, you guys are getting so good at that prayer. I'm so proud of you.
You see that your littlest brother, Dante, goes, "Last one to get to the toy chest doesn't love Soul with their whole heart." And they start piling over each other. And you see Roger shakes his head and goes, "All right now, kids, just remember, everybody loves Soul with their whole heart." Your mom goes over and puts a feathered hand on your shoulder and says, "Sonny, I just want you to know I'm so dang proud of the work you're doing. And Soul knows we would love to meet the pastor that's helping you out with this missionary work sometime. When are we going to get to meet this gosh dang mission group?"
Oh, yeah, gosh, we're just so busy, and Soul demands our full attention, so, maybe at the next bake sale.
You see, she nods and says, "Great, the next bake sale. And yeah. I just want you to know that the fact that you've been going on these missions for almost 8 months now, and we haven't met anyone, and we don't have any physical proof that it's happening, none of that bothers me and your dad, because when your heart's full of faith, you never have doubts."
That's so true, right? Like, faith is just the best.
It sure is, kiddo.
Yeah.
Can't wait to meet the pastor. You have a great day out there. See, your mom stuffs some snacks in a little satchel. Your dad straightens your stuff out, and he says, "Oh, that's my sweet girl. You go out there and you spread the word that, hey, it's okay to live a life of simple hard work and never go on an adventure and never get any respect and just work and completely vanish from the world with no great deeds to your name and no bounty and no treasure. That's a good life, because then we all get to be together simply and humbly in Soul's light."
I agree. What more could anybody want when we have this family, right?
Yay! We're all alike. You hear from the other room, all your siblings go, we're all alike.
We're all alike.
I'd like to yellow X due to my Southern Baptist upbringing. Thank you very much.
You see, Sonny, you take off from your family's wonderful home.
I grab my, I have a little bit of a staff that I have fashioned with an old pirate hook and kind of wrapped it with some rope onto a long stick. And I grab a rum barrel lid that I fashioned into a shield. But I just kind of take it and hope that Mom and Dad don't really notice. And then, you know, on the way out, just say, like, better safe than sorry. Am I right?
Sonny.
Yes.
You take off through the skies of Rigaba, flying throughout. You can feel...
As I'm flying, I just kind of let out an exasperated sigh.
You alight on a balcony on the newly constructed Ramble. The old Ramble burnt down. The Ramble burns down all the time when people try to destroy the Ramble. The Ramble is a 12-story tavern, not structured like a skyscraper, like a house that they just kept building more house on. It is a monstrous, teetering, howls-moving, castle-esque abomination of porches and balconies and chimneys. And you land on one of the balconies. You can still hear hammering and wood and other things like that. And again, none of this is like fresh lumber. This is all like recovered shipwreck that they're building this all out of. Almost like very Walrus and Carpenter from Alice in Wonderland. Just bang, 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 putting it all together. You alight on a balcony where you are planning your rendezvous. And you see up above the balcony a figurehead that you can see is from the mast of a ship, and it's an old ship. Ships like this are very rare these days. It's very few pirates who keep the old ways, who keep their word and the code, and who revere the Shining Ones, the first pirates. Now, most of those first pirates, as you well know, were cutthroats and scoundrels and of a more villainous sort. But you see this figurehead is your deity. And you see that it has clearly been placed here, waiting for your next arrival by your old friend. You see Jane Wren, goddess of the horizon, freedom, and adventure. Her divine arm stretched and pointing to that faraway place, which some say is the setting sun, some say is the northern star, and some say is always the next adventure. You see that a voice booms out from the shadows as you alight. It says, "Young Mistress Biscotto, I thought you might enjoy this latest find." A towering 11-foot tall minotaur in a captain's coat, enormous tri-corner that's bent a little bit from the bulge of his horns coming out. See, his eyes have gone a little bit milky. He can't see as well as he used to. His fur is graying. He's got that sort of cow's tuft beard from his big old bull's head. You see that he marches out. Giant. You see that his flintlock is just a small cannon that was put on like a stick with a handle sort of under his side. Graying again, sort of reaches out, and he has an old walking stick. His normally 11-foot tall frame is more like about 8 or 9 feet tall because he's stooped over with age. But he walks over and goes, "My dear Miss Biscotto."
Tomer!
Yes, indeed. You see, this is your wonderful friend, This is Tulwar Zahari Royce, Admiral of the Blood Fleet and Captain of the Lady of Sundering back in the day. But now he sits in the ramble and tells stories.
Tulwar, I've been practicing my traditional accent. But that's not important, because you gotta look at Jane, she's so beautiful.
I thought you would enjoy. It's very rare we come across these old figureheads. Pirates mostly don't keep to the shining ones these days, the demigods of the open sea. But I thought Jane's beautiful face would inspire something in you. I know that you've been looking for an adventure for some time.
Yeah, she's incredible. Oh, wow. Well, what are we learning today?
Today we'll be learning patience, I'm afraid. And you see that he pulls out a bunch of scrolls, pulls a table out here, and pulls a stair up and says, "You know, my eyesight isn't great, and me and the other elder pirates have to go through. James Wicklaw burned the old ramble down. We're building this new one, and since there's no pirate king here," and he puts this stuff out, says, "There's no pirate king anymore. Back when there was a monarchy, at least stuff was a lot faster. Now there's all this insurance information, and we have to get the ramble insured, and it turns out there's not that many banks that want to insure anything in a pirate city."
I don't remember anything in the code about insurance. I just think we just need to go back to the pirate code.
You see, he nods and sort of from memory says, "Right, the only contracts are signed either in blood or occasionally in spit, but for the most... But that's not how these trading companies work, I'm afraid. So... Listen, today I was wondering if you could help my old eyes. And you see, he looks up and can sort of see your face as like another day is going by without like an adventure or a quest. You see, he looks up at you and just goes, "Sonny, I'm very sorry. You know, the world changes, and I know you believe in Jane with all your heart, but..."
Well, yeah, I mean, she was a real person, right? She was a real person, right?
No, she was, absolutely. Oh, the pirate demigods were all real people who either conned, bartered, or just pirated their way into deityhood. It's incredible, you know the stories. But
yeah.
Jane Wren was the only of those pirates who saw fit to share her wealth with the common folk, to make the sea a brighter place for those in need. And you see that as the radiant light kind of wraps around you in the setting sun, he says, "And you clearly wield her magic. It is obvious to see." He says, "But, you know, there hasn't been a miracle from the Shining Ones in ages. Adventures don't just barge in through the door like they used to." Barging in through the door is Barbarella Ganglin. Bob, you have come all the way up to the ramble to see this beautiful balcony. There's a table with a bunch of paperwork, and you see this ancient piratical minotaur, and this sort of scrappy, heroic, young-looking parrot Aarakocra with a rum barrel lid as a shield and a hook on a stick. The name that Gardy gave you on this piece of paper was Tulwar Zahari Royce. And you have been directed through the ramble to this balcony.
Hello, Yarg. Hi, young maiden. Welcome to our humble abode. Am I doing it right, Tulwar?
You're doing great. I think the accent is a stretch. It doesn't.
It doesn't.
I don't want to denigrate the work you've been doing on it, but it just feels like you're kind of reaching for almost every word you're saying. Like, I don't have that voice, you know, I don't.
But you kind of, sometimes, sometimes you can't hear yourself, so
Right,
but you do a little.
Little bit, yes, I understand. It you know what? It's one of those things where it comes situationally. Like when you're pillaging, you can kind of, you know, like when it's very hard to say avast without sort of saying avast like that. But yeah.
Right. Okay. You need a situation. I got it. Okay.
Excuse me.
Hi. Sorry.
Hi. My name's Barbarella Sarsaparilla Ganglin. You can call me Bob. I just needed a little bit of help. You see, I had this friend, and she's my best friend, and we worked together in the Gold Garden. And I went to a room, and she wasn't in a room anymore. She was supposed to be up there. She had a friend over for a visit, if you know what I mean. And so I really needed some help to find her, because she disappeared. I thought that she was going to still be in the room, because we were supposed to spend time together. But when I went back to the room, she wasn't in the room. She wasn't anywhere to be found. And I found this on the floor, and so there was this. But I'm on a mission because I need to find out where Trixie is, and I don't know where to start. But I thought maybe if I came here, then maybe you could help me.
Did you just say a mission?
You see, Tulwar looks over at you, Sonny, and goes, easy. We don't know what's happening yet.
Tulwar, this could be a chance. This could be it.
Sonny, your like paladin divine sense, you see that the sort of like lacquered wood of Jane Wren's figurehead eyes, you could swear for a second the figurehead turns to you and cracks a smile. And you see Tulwar says, all right, you see also Tulwar looks at you and says, oh my God, you're Barbarella Sarsaparilla Ganglin. I'm a huge fan. I'm an enormous fan. Incredible. I can't believe, oh my God, my eyesight's not great as I approached about the lamp. That's amazing. Wow.
Yeah,
okay.
I'm a big fan too.
What's your favorite song?
I love that one that you sing about ships and Leviathan and ships.
Oh, the ships, they go a-sailing. I love that song. It's great.
The one is so good. It just speaks to me.
Tulwar looks at the lamp in your hand for a second, and he has to get real close. You have that thing of like this giant minotaur head. You can sort of, like, you know, when like big animals are near you moving, you're like, whoa, he just sort of has this weight to his movements, comes down, sort of snorts and sniffs the lamp. And as he does so, he looks up and says, This is infernal. Very powerful. You would need to find some sort of dark cleric to appraise or identify this. This is bad magic. You see, he says, I know one I could send you to, but it's a risk. You see, he looks up and says, Miss Ganglin, the woman I'm thinking of lives in Jetsam, deep below the water. I wouldn't recommend going there if I were you. It's dangerous.
Yeah, very dangerous.
You could come with me. You could come with me, and it wouldn't be as dangerous because there would be more than one person.
Were you pointing at me or him? Or both, but he's just so big. He's kind of always in your field of vision.
You know what they say about minotaurs with big paws?
She says,
they don't have fingers.
That's right. They do say that, and I never knew why. You see, Tulwar looks at you, Sonny, and says, Sonny, you feel that you can go ahead and accompany Miss Ganglin. I wouldn't dare stand in the way of Ms. Jane Wren and her wishes.
Oh, wait, sidebar, 1 second, Miss Bob. You're not gonna come with me?
I'm so old. I'm so incredibly old.
That's ageist. to yourself. You're healthy?
I'm healthy. No, I'm big. Big is not healthy. I'm very infirm. Listen, I'm incredibly strong, but if I tried to run, I would probably break a bone. I'm so old.
This is so demeaning to yourself, Tolwer.
No,
all right.
Well, okay, how about this? Also, I don't want to. How about that?
Okay,
I'm
that's
going to
fair.
go inside and get some brandy and smoke a pipe and talk about cool stuff I did when I didn't hurt all over.
Here's the thing. Being in Aarakocra, we're kind of covered in feathers and water. Have you ever seen those, have you ever seen like a seagull like get wet and covered in oil and stuff? It's not good.
You see that Tolwar says, "Oh, very well. Well, perhaps staying in Rigaba your whole life is for you. Perhaps this adventure is past what you can."
I'll
go. You see, Tolwar turns to you, Bob, and says, "Very well. You have some accompaniment on your mission, Miss Ganglin." You see, as the two of you get ready to head out, you see Tolwar calls after you and says, "And you know, Sonny, if it gets to be hard going, remember, there are plenty of people who would have loved to have been up here in the air in the Crow's Keep this whole time, so it's never too late to turn back."
I can't tell if you're trying to encourage or discourage me.
It's always both. And you see Tolwar turns to walk inside. And as those words echo of the people who have longed to be up in the Crow's Keep, we cut all the way down. Deep, deep, deep in the bowels of Leviathan. And there is a series of 3 holes in the deck. So we're 3 layers down below Galliard. And in a tiny, ill-bedecked room, looking through a telescope all the way up at the Crow's Keep and the Compass Points Library, with all of its tomes of lore and wizardcraft, we see a little room decorated with star charts and symbols and all the little scraps of things that could have been gathered. And we see a little boy looking through a spyglass up at the places far, far above. Carlos, could you describe your character for us?
Yeah, I guess if I had to, describe myself, I'm a thinker, I'm a planner. I carry my keeper everywhere I go, my little trapper keeper, and Velcro sticky. I think the camera pans over and shows like all his little trinkets on his shelf, like carefully placed, like little pirate figures facing each other, about to do combat. 2 orbs that he used for arcane focus are also there. They're put together like a yo-yo. And he's in his shorts and his shirt from Cannonball High, which has a mascot on it, and his pirate coat and hat that are 2 sizes too big for him are on his bedpost as he looks up.
Cheese, you're looking up. There's the compass points up there. For some people, the path to wizardry is an easy one, but you have only ever had the scraps you can find, your trapper keeper, and Cannon Court can be a hard place. And speaking of being a hard place, the door to your room flies open. Wearing a little pork pie hat with a big bushy mustache is your father, Fitlock Stormcrank, and behind him, in a gown that's honestly way more expensive than anything in your room, is your mother, Keydum Stormcrank. Your father bursts in and says, "Cheese, what the hell are you doing looking up for that dang spyglass?"
Cheese scrambles. He's just trying to put it away and put it. Oh yeah, sorry. Yeah, I was just about to come out and find you. What's going on, Pops?
Your mother and I are gonna go see dinner and a show and have a nice date. We're getting some escargot and some caviar and some other things. But I don't understand for the life of me why you aren't out there working.
That's the thing. I'm working way later on tonight. I mean, we're not even. What time is it? I mean, how long have I been? Oh no. I'm sorry. I'll go. I'm heading out. Don't worry. And he's like putting on his coat and he's like putting on his hat.
That's right. You see that your mother comes over and says, "What in the dang? What is this?" And you see she picks up your trapper keeper and says, "You're looking at your runes and your spells again. You gonna be a big time magic mancer, huh? No magic mancy in this house, all right? We focus on things that are real, like crazy doodads and machines that do cannon stuff and blow up, okay?"
Yeah, yes, man. But some things don't have to blow up. Sometimes you can just move it, and like you don't have to put a hole in it or break it or try to sell it. Sometimes things are just good. And
okay. You don't want things to blow up? Because it seems like you want your old man to blow up, Cheese. I'm about to blow up right now.
No, sir. I wasn't looking to upset you at all. I completely understand. I mean, yeah, are you kidding me? I'm totally into blowing stuff up. I was just pulling your leg. I blow stuff up all the time. I shake up the soda before I open it. I don't even care anymore. I don't even care, man.
You see, he says, "Yeah, I bet you don't care. Look, you get to work, all right? Raising a kid is expensive, okay? How are me and your mother supposed to raise you without an income?"
You're 100% right. I've been slacking. I'm a slacker. But you're setting me straight, Pops. I totally get it. I appreciate it. Don't give up on me, sir. Throw on my hat.
You see,
put my coat on.
You put on your hat, your stuff. You see, he says, "Don't you forget it. This family." You see, he says. You see, your mother goes, "If your brother Spaulding was still with us, you know he would have taken care of the family. What a beautiful boy. Oh, perfect boy. So perfect." And your dad looks at you and says, "Spaulding knew what he had to do and what it took, okay? And you're wearing his hat and you're wearing his coat. And he wasn't messing around with magic. Go get paid. We're going to go see his show. Good night." And you see that slams the door and they take off. And you see over in a corner of your room, there's still a little portrait of your older brother Spaulding, who has been, MIA for some time. And you see he's got you as a little guy, like on his knee in this portrait. And unlike your terrible parents, is smiling and rustling your hair. And as he always did, a wonderful older brother. Cheese. Work awaits. What's Cheese thinking and doing as he walks his way towards his work in Cannon Court?
Yeah, I think it's like a Charlie Bucket scene, right? Like he's running through saying hello to everyone, but like perfectly in sync with the city, right? Like as soon as he's running, like it looks like he's gonna hit this guy, but that guy always bends down to water his flowers at this time, Yes. So he's like able to jump over him. He's saying hello to like the trash guys. There's always like 4 trash guys. I always picture like Hart, Dash, and the Ians.
Yes. See, Cannon Court is a big mechanical neighborhood. All the cannons of Leviathan are made here. There's chains and foundries and smelting. There's like tons of dwarves and gnomes here. So you're like sliding underneath moving chains. There's like conveyor chain belts of like buckets of water and coal moving around. You see a bunch of dwarves shoveling coal into a giant furnace. All go, "Oh there, Cheese, good luck today."
They're like you folks do. He's like warming his hands as the coals are like under him, like ooh, like warming up.
You run by,
and
you see like, there are two gnomes that are like pilloried in stocks. You see that they have like their head and arms like in the public stocks. This is Milo and Winnie, who are like, they're almost always committing crimes, and so in these stocks for some reason, but they're great neighborhood gossips. So see, they both look at you and go like, "Oh there, Cheese, late again it seems."
"I'm always late, Milo and Winnie. Hey, I've been working on sparkle darts. Check it out." And like he casts like magic missile, but he doesn't know like the name of magic missile, And like he calls it sparkle darts.
It's like, "Wow, that's incredible. Also looks highly dangerous. Be careful with that, my friend."
It's gonna be great. You squeak through
As you scoot through, your arcane focus, your magical yo-yo made out of cracked crystal orbs, begins to glow. Go ahead and give me a perception check with disadvantage.
Ooh. So that is a 11.
Cool.
And the other one is, 11.
Cool. You dip off to the side. Your globe starts to glow a little bit, indicating the presence of a nearby magical artifact. And normally it like flickers or like spritzes a little bit with some sparks at like a scrap or whatever. It illuminates the entire passage that you are in. Something big, not just a scrap, something big is nearby. You're late, but you have never seen your orb indicate anything like this before.
So he kind of stops in his track. Cheese just like stops in his tracks, and he's just like, need to. This is, oh, I know, the Waldo. And like he casts the Waldo, which is locate object. So I want to see if I can find exactly where this is coming from.
You detect a powerful piece of magic. Up through a little grate in the ceiling up above you, you can sense the object through that grate. It's in a sort of locked off private dwarven foundry. Even a regular sized gnome couldn't get through this hole, but you're like a scrawny 16-year-old kid. You think you could dip through here if you needed to.
Cool. I start like stacking like little boxes that are like misplaced or whatever, and try to like crawl up into it.
Cool. Awesome. You crawl up into it. There's a place that like where the thing ends, but you see that there is an area of rotted wood. There's like a plank of rotted wood that is like partially folded into this space that you could dip your head in it. You have to like sort of crawl up on the spar of wood, but you can peek out. You are up. You're like about 40 feet up above this massive foundry floor. They have like riveted steel into the floor to have big crucibles. Like we're talking like huge 30-foot tall crucibles, like giant foundry works. There are all these dwarves here that are, you see, all of them are like Leviathan dwarves that have been here for a long, long time. So they're not wearing like armor or like dwarven clothing. They've got like they're like punk dwarves. They got like tons of gold earrings in, nose piercings. Their beards are all dyed like wild pirate colors, like cerulean or lime green, but still braided, tons of rings and jewelry. You see there's this massive dwarf who is talking to a group of people. There are about 30 elven, half-elven, and human naval officers, along with a bearded, musket and bayonet-wielding elf, a lordly-looking half-elf, as well as a bugbear that we're pretty familiar with. Marcide, another stop on the way, you and these other soldiers have teamed up again. Lieutenant Mardris is here. At the back of the group, Cheese, you see it. There is a chest. The chest is closed, but not locked. And you know that the artifact is in that chest. This could make all the difference in the world to you. You see the scene unfolding beneath you, though, and immediately get that sort of childlike thing of like, oh, I'm seeing some serious grown-up stuff. Marcide, you see that Langley is speaking to one of the dwarves here.
Can that dwarf be wearing a My Clerical Romance shirt?
Yes, 100%. They're wearing My Clerical Romance. You recognize this dwarf as Bowser the Broad. Bowser is the sort of the foreman of this foundry. You see that. So Sheffield Harrington looks over and says, My dear Bowser, I assure you, this will be the last such task that we require from you. You've been paid handsomely, and I understand that crises of conscience do play a part in business, but let's please be reasonable. I can assure you that the bodies will come to no harm at all. You see Bowser goes, right, that's what it is. This is the last one, eh? The dwarves go and carry this huge 15-foot carved copper like tube, but you see it's like sealed on the end with almost like minarets, and there are runes carved into it, and the runes are carved into the tube all the way, so they're almost like cookie cutters looking into the inside of the hollow tube, such that if like a candle was lit inside, it would illuminate all these open runes in there. You see that Marcide, you watch, and Cheese, you're seeing this as well, that the captain of this sort of naval fleet motions. There is a woman in a deep cloak. You cannot see her face, cannot see her body, but you see the lieutenant shoves a figure that is bound and gagged that was on her knees. You see a very familiar looking tiefling. Trixie is thrown to the floor. The woman grabs her hand and doesn't look strong to do this, but drags her across the floor. Trixie has been like blindfolded, gagged, hands tied behind her back. The dwarves bring this tube out, and you see that the woman draws a black serrated dagger, takes Trixie's hands that are behind her back, stabs quickly into the palm of her hand, draws the blood across her mouth. Trixie like wriggles her way out of the binding, the gag, and goes, I don't know what all your problem is, but when Gardy and Bob find out that you did this, you're all gonna be in a heap of help and in trouble. The woman just says, I'm afraid all of Leviathan is in a heaping helping of trouble. And lashes this forked tongue out of her mouth that stabs into Trixie's neck and vomits this flame. The giant 15-foot copper tube fills with fire and then settles. The inside is filled with a helix of this like stable magical flame casting light from the runes. The soldiers come, grab that from the guards, and you see that Trixie is alive, but just staring ahead, and just goes, Bob? Bobby? Bob? You look at Sheffield Harrington, who looks over, looks at the woman and Marjoris and says, take her body to the sternwood with the others, and says, men, let's go and get that tube placed, shall we? Cheese, you can tell that they're wrapping up and can still feel that incredibly powerful artifact in the chest. You know that something very like bad is happening. Is there anything Cheese is thinking of doing in this moment?
Are they all distracted from the chest? Are they all?
It looks like this big actually, when that big magical thing is going on, that seems like the best time for you to try to do something if you want to.
Yeah, I want to try to sneak down there, be a little sneaky. Oh God. Okay, Cheese, be a heart. Get down there. He's trying to like hype himself up. His brother has always led the way. His brother's super brave. He was like well known in the neighborhood, and like Cheese is definitely a soft boy. He's definitely a little cheese whiz. So he's gonna try to. He's a Gouda boy. He's definitely gonna try to like hype himself up while he's in that like little like vent or whatever, and try to sneak down there.
Cool.
To see it.
Go ahead and give me a stealth check with I'll say make this with advantage.
Cool. 21.
21. Little wizard boy, you like zip on your yo-yo, snap it back into your hand. You go over to the chest, not locked. I'll say that same stealth check allows you to open it. You see the Daughter of Storms. You see this statue underneath. It looks big, but it would probably be like your full encumbrance to carry it, but you probably could lift it if you needed to.
Can I get out of this room? Did I jump down or?
You did jump down, but you could climb up back the way you came.
Okay, she's like, oh, yes. Like darts left and right, and then like heads back.
Cool. You're like, go ahead. Oh, no. I'm gonna say, go ahead and give me an athletics check, and then I'm gonna say, give me an athletics check first.
5.
Give me a stealth check with disadvantage.
Here we go. First one was pretty good. Second one, 10.
Okay, I'm gonna be generous here. Cheese?
That is under my passive perception.
10 is under almost everybody's passive perception. Cheese, I'm going to be generous here. You make it all the way up back to the hole up near the roof that you climbed out of. You've got this thing like strapped to your back, this giant block of stone. You get up, pull yourself in, but that rotten piece of wood fully collapses. You are hanging into the wall, and bam, 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 a huge chunk of the wall just collapses and slams into the floor. The entire foundry turns and looks right at you, hanging 40 feet up in the air with the stone. Langley goes, oh, the stone. Marseed, my good man, could you catch and kill that child?
Absolutely, sir. I hit him with Hunter's Mark.
You see this bugbear hit you with some spell. You are marked. And what a cheese! What do you do?
Do I still have the stone on my back?
The stone, and no one else can get up here quickly. So you have your runaway passage. You can run if you want to.
Yeah. I'm going to cast. I don't even know if I have time to Control-Alt-Delete invisibility, and run as fast as I can, like start shimmying through, because I know they can't go through they're way too big to go through this.
Yeah, Marseed is gonna have to find another way to get through here. So you've got a big head start, but he's got some spell on you. This terrifying bugbear. Who, by the way, the moment Marseed moves, he is vanished from your sight. Like.
Yep. Oh no! Oh god! Okay, Cheese, you trained for this.
He's freaking Bruce Willis in Die Hard going through a vent.
Okay, come on. You got this.
Incredible. You just flee into Leviathan, just like looking for a place to hide. You can't go back home. Your parents will probably kick you out onto the street if they find out that you stole something that a person's coming to hunt you. You're just like flee as fast as you can. You run as fast as your legs can carry you all the way through Cannon Court, just terrified out of your mind, until you arrive in a neighborhood you've never been in before. You're in the Bilge. This is the dark, rotten underbelly. This is a neighborhood that some say is haunted. This is where the people that can't exist under the daylight come and hide away. Here's where the lycanthropes, the vampires, all manner of folks that live better away from the light of the sun. You're running. You get to a part of the Bilge that you feel cold, and there's like mist. You're deep in the shipwreck city. Like you're probably like 5, 6, 7 decks below the surface. And you begin to hear music lilting around you. You can't even tell necessarily who's singing it, but you hear this song. begin to echo throughout from these ghostly voices. Unlucky Jack is a cursed man, and at night he makes his way for to break his back on the bilge's walls till he reaches final day. It's a haunted man who can hear the dead and heed their mournful cry, even more that they should bow their heads to see Jack still alive. Unlucky Jack is a cursed man, the one the gods forgot. Don't need his eye, but just give thanks that poor Jack you are not. Boom! You hit something as you're running, and a towering figure in the cold mist turns around to regard you. Matt, could you describe your character for us?
As you look up in the kind of darkened atmosphere, the mist just barely parting as you see this towering shape slowly turning around to kind of meet your direction. You see about a 6.5, nearly 7 foot tall humanoid rat, one of the various rat folk that live here on the bilge, and in the bilge, but on the Leviathan as a whole. But this is the largest rat man you've seen in your time here on the ship. You see his legs themselves are long and spindly, but the torso itself widens to where the shoulders meet this giant muscular upper body. You see bits of kind of tattered deckhand clothing, and this kind of long gray mustache that drags from the end of the older rat snout. This is a rat folk in his later years, probably in what would be the human equivalent of his late 50s or so, with the green rag tied over the top of his head, kind of sunken, dark, haunted eyes, and you see kind of held by the right hand, hanging over the shoulders, a massive, thick piece of wood, almost like a support or a part of a mast that he kind of clutches and hangs one arm over. As he spins back over, looking in that direction, he goes, Right, so, hello?
Hello. Excuse me. I'm sorry. I seem to be a little lost right now. You know what? You look busy. So I'm just sorry. Whatever you're building a house or something. I gotta go.
All right. As you go to turn, the other hand kind of just reaches out and grabs the top of the stone and just holds you in place as he goes, "Oh, right. Just wanted to say hello."
Hello. My name's Cheese. My name's Cheese. What's your name?
You see like a small smile kind of curl across the face.
My name's Jack. You ain't running from me, are you?
No, sir. Wasn't I wasn't running. I wasn't running from you at all. Just I haven't been in this neighborhood before, so haven't seen anyone around. There was also carolers or something. I don't know.
As you say that carolers thing, you see the mist kind of swirls. Jack, you're grabbing this stone, and you flash to something for a second. You just flash for a moment. First of all, you see for a moment translucent hands place themselves on your hand, wrapping around the stone. Cheese, for a moment, you feel the stone become lighter. 2 years ago, Jack, your ship is in pieces. You cannot tell which way is up. You cannot tell where the air is. It has become more than water. It is foam and wreckage. The waves in the sky have intermingled. Lightning and thunder is everywhere. You can't tell where to swim to get air. All of your dreams, your life, everything. Something is moving away from you. In the madness, chests, crates, cargo. A chest you don't recognize. It opens for a second. You see a face in stone. You see a face in stone, and then the wave is on you, and the mast that saves your life in your arms. This moment of horrifying relapse of a vision of this traumatic experience. You're back. Your hand on the stone, as you look beneath it, you see the face you saw in the water in that stone.
Hi, you little one. Where'd you find this?
I picked it up. I found it. It was in a chest. No one was there. It's probably mine. It called me. It yelled for my name. I should be on my way.
And at this point, you watch as Jack kind of puts his hand over the mouth of the child for a second. And just...
It's like my entire face. Like he just palms my head like a basketball.
Jack kind of stands up a little more upright from his hunched position, his usual posture, and glances around the space.
Shouldn't be out here holding on to something quite as dark as that. Come with me.
And kind of releases his face, and without dragging him, just kind of lumbers off to a nearby alley.
You begin to move.
The scenario's really weird, but okay.
You begin to follow this dude who seems to recognize this stone somehow. As you are walking through the neighborhood, you begin to come through an area that is less kind of catacombs and more full ship's hulls that have been hollowed out and are now filled with shacks and tenements. So weirdly, it's almost like a hilly neighborhood again, because the swell of like ships' inner keels, like the inner hull of the ships, makes like a more natural geography. And these little ramshack, again, like there are some tenements where it's like multiple apartments. Jack, as you walk along, you see that there are like little buckets of tar that have been left out, and like hammer and nails have been left out in places. Cheese, as you look over, you see that a mother wrestling, like this rat folk woman who's wearing like a washerwoman's dress and has sort of a little bonnet around her head, comes out with a little linen shirt, sort of pirate shirt and little shorts, little rat boy. They come out with a little mending kit, as well as a crust of bread on a plate. And you see the little boy has the plate, and you're probably like half a block away from this. The little boy walks out to the sort of curbside, as much as this like wooden street has a curbside, and goes to put the plate down and looks up, and Jack, the little boy, meets your eyes and goes, and you see the mother just quickly pinches his ear and says, "Don't look at him, boy. Just leave the food, leave the mending kit, and walk back inside." And you see that the boy sort of mutters an apology and is like, "Ma, I'm not cursed now, am I?" She says, No, just get back inside.
Cheese is just following behind. He's super nervous, and when he's nervous, he keeps talking and chattering. I imagine it's something very similar to like, you guys ever see the movie Dick Tracy? Dick Tracy with the kid, like where the kid just keeps talking, like that's what's happening. Like, so this is where you hang out, huh? This is a pretty cool spot, huh? And then like sees like the kid run away. He's like, oh my god.
For every major question that comes up, too, the only response he gets is,
pretty cool. Like a lot of nails, huh? Nails are cool. They hold stuff together. Are we going far down the? Are we going? Do we? Should I call someone? Should I? Maybe I should.
You're a bit far to be calling someone around these parts here, child.
As Jack passes these offerings, what's like the expression on Jack's face as he's passing these places? And is he stopping, or is the stone sort of more importance to him right now?
I mean, he gives a sidelong glance, and kind of his step pauses for just a moment, and he gives the tail end of a a mild sigh before he picks up his step once more, kind of takes a piece of the bread and keeps walking.
I mean, there was a whole plate of muffins. We should have. I mean, they look good. I would have taken it. I haven't had muffins in forever. I mean, we can't really afford those types of blueberries where I come from.
I've lost my appetite. Let's just say, keep walking, child. Lest you be taken.
You move further into the bilge, and you arrive at a small dwelling place. Matt, what do we see when we enter Jack's dwelling place here at the edge of the bilge?
This ragged hovel that constitutes largely one singular chamber of about 10 by 12 feet. It is not too terribly dirty necessarily. It's just it's barren. You see a single bed that is obviously too small for this poor fellow. You see what looks like a portrait on the wall of two older rat folk that itself is kind of just weathered and starting to mildew on the bottom. You see there are bits of rope slightly sagging from one corner to the next, where little trinkets hang from, little like fragments and pieces of broken wood. And you see there is what looks to be one rather unsightly collection of kind of a greenish brown mold that is gathered on the far corner across from where the bed is settled. There's a table with a single chair and a couple of small kind of scattered boxes. It is a very sad space.
You enter this sad space, and again, the temperature around there's just kind of a chill in the air, and for a moment in the port, like sort of the sheen of whatever metallic substance there is here, it's burnished like sort of brass, so it's not like a clear reflection, but for a moment it almost looks like there's other figures in the room in the reflection from the small little candle holder. There's sort of this dank smell, and you see over in a corner there is a thick growth of mold, of this like again thick, just like lack of care in this place. And you hear a voice say, "Oh, welcome to the master's return." And the mold, you hear a little like as two eyes open up in the mold and a mouth kind of peels open, and you see that this mold looks up and goes, "Master Jack, back so... Oh, a visitor. Well, let's put out a spread."
By all means, Stymie, but we've got seemingly important matters to discuss. Close the door behind you if you don't mind, chap.
Aye. You see that Stymie, like, you know how mold is like, if you can see it, there's way more behind it that you can't see. See, Stymie grunts with effort, and some fungal stuff in the hinges of the door, like, pulses like muscle and closes the door.
Okay. Love what happened to your place. This is pretty cool. Hey, your friend's name. Well, my name's Cheese.
Have a seat. And he kicks the one chair over in your direction. It kind of skids right towards you. He turns the large piece of mast over and sets it on the ground with a and then sits on it like a bench and goes,
"Name's Jack Bracow. Man. I've seen that stone on your back there, and I don't like it. How'd you come about such a strange artifact there, boy?"
Well, I'm new to it. It's brand new, so I haven't had time to like work out anything. So how it's going to affect people, I didn't know. I honestly didn't know. So I apologize in advance if it somehow offends you in some way. I can't read all those things on it. I found it. I found it because it's mine. Found it because it's mine.
He leans in a bit, and the faint bit of candlelight kind of just quivers and darkens ever so slightly as it kind of underlights the older rat face as it leans towards him.
You carry a piece of ill omen, you do, boy. Wherever you found it, either you be placing it back or keeping it far from the hands of those here on the Leviathan, lest it befalls a fate as I have.
As you say ill omen, Cheese, you hear sort of off in the distance like and both of you hear rumbling of distant storm clouds. Myrtle, you are within the temple. The vision of Umberly filled this space with rage. You see that she, as she begins to sort of fade, says, find them who have it, and find who it was that brought it on this ship in the first place, and vanishes. You see Rory looks over and says,
Ah, mistress, it looks like the lady with the big head was so angry.
Yes, Rory. She was justifiably filled with rage from the ill omens, the bad magic. I will do as our mistress commands. You stay here, guard the... And she kind of looks at like the hole in the bottom of her temple crevice, and I'm going to go find that stupid stone.
You see that, as you say that, you see Rory says,
Okay, funny stone that. Hey, lots of funny things today. Funny name for a ship too.
You see that Rory reaches down and pulls a chunk of driftwood out of the refuse. You have a piece of driftwood of the name of the ship that sank with the stone.
Oh.
You see on the side of it, it says, the Late Bloomer.
Funny name, that, the Late Bloomer. Blooms is thing flowers do. Anemones as well. More familiar with anemones than other things.
She wants to be mad at Rory, but he is really cute. And now that there's no one else around, she's just kind of like, "Aw, you dummy. I love you."
I'm not very bright, am I?
No, you're brilliant. And she's going to go and grab it. Do I have any, would I recognize this name at all?
You could cast Identify on it and maybe get some more information out of it if you wanted to.
Yeah, let's do that.
Hell yeah. As you were casting Identify on it, amazingly, 2 more air breathers walk through into your temple. Sunny and Bob, both of you walk or have gotten water breathing potions from Talwar. You are down in Jetsam, and you both walk through into the temple to see Myrtle here.
As she's busy casting this spell, I think this sound of, even underwater, this echoey sound of bells beginning to toll starts kicking up, and she looks up and her eyes are jet black as she is beginning to cast Toll the Dead because she wants to be left alone for 2 seconds. But she'll stop. Yes.
Bob and Sunny, you are in this crazy underwater temple with these artifacts floating all around, and see Myrtle and incidentally Rory in the back.
Oh, ye be the mistress we be looking for. Maybe Tulworth's right. I don't know if the accent is really working.
Honestly, it's kind of a lot. Sorry. I am Myrtle, Templar of Umberly, the sea bitch. What can I do for you?
I'm Sunny. Acts like we don't know each other. I saw you a couple of weeks ago.
No.
You came and snuck into my show. You were
Bob.
so sweet. You didn't even say a word. You just didn't even do the whole Myrtle the bitch thing. You just came right in, and it was so delightful to see your face.
God damn it! Hi, hey, Bob. I was trying to do a thing for the parrot.
For the boy?
Yeah. Come in. Do you need a top off on the breathing thing that you all do so often? You good?
Sunny?
Yeah. Sunny. Come on. Come on.
Yeah. Sunny is also like very awkwardly just trying with her feathers wet and trying to like flap swim over in this very uncomfortable situation.
So you're not really descended from those birds that dive underwater, are you?
No, I didn't. Yeah, that's not us. Yeah.
Well, now that my cover is blown, hello, Bob. Hello, Sunny. What can I do for you? And she just kind of chucks the piece of driftwood to the side.
Mm-hmm.
So, we're looking for Trixie. You know Trixie, my friend. She's like really, really sweet with the thing.
Says mean things if you give her enough gold. Yeah, I'm aware.
Oh yeah, I forgot you guys were familiar. So, Sunny here is coming with me. We're on an adventure, and we're trying to figure out what this is for, because this was on the floor in Trixie's room. Someone took her. Or, I don't actually think somebody took her. I think she ran off to be a pirate. So I've decided that I'm going to run off and be a pirate kind of too. So I'll go on an adventure myself, and I'm going to take this here bird with me. You want to come too?
We're trying to uphold the pirate traditions of the olden days. You know, just like it's really hard to find good pirates these days, and it feels like a valuable thing that we should have as a society. And it just feels like we've really like lost our place, you know, in Leviathan. Sorry,
no,
rambling.
You're good.
We're
no,
pirates.
You're good. This is. That's fine. So you want me to be a pirate with you? I got lost. There was a lot of.
We're kind of making it up as we go along.
Yeah.
It's just kind of an idea, because you don't really lose your friends that often to the point where you just don't see them anymore, and you just saw them like 20 minutes to an hour maybe before, and then all of a sudden they're gone. But what you can't do.
Okay, and I'm gonna. She's gonna swim over and put her hand over your mouth. Just okay. This has been wonderful. Yes. Okay. If I say yes, will you talk less?
Well, you see, I just feel like, you know, to Bob's point, we're making it up as we go along. And that spirit of adventure, you know, that you just kind of don't have anymore. You know, so I can't really make any promises. And I don't want to speak for Bob, of course. I think there's a lot to talk about.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Yeah. Okay. Yes. I have some work to do in and around Leviathan, so I'll come with you and help you be a pirate.
Myrtle, you can detect through your pearl the faint glowing magic of the broken lamp that they've brought here as well. And I'll let you do one identify and double up on the driftwood and on this thing as well.
Okay. Yeah. And I think she kind of like swims around and gets very low and close to this lantern and kind of like touches it and like tastes it and just, what is this? And yeah, I cast Identify.
So, starting with the broken lamp, powerful infernal magic here. It looks like there was something here that was like bringing out some explosive infernal fire magic, and also you sense some enchantment magic around it, such that like it seems likely to you that if there had been someone with infernal blood or some kind of infernal heritage, that this would have enchanted them with something from the enchantment school of magic, bound them potentially in some way or another. It's also very interesting because you look at the sort of workings of this. It looks like this was mass produced, made. That there was something sort of factorially, and you see a small little stamp on the bottom of it. The idea of someone making magical items in a assembly kind of way, it's pretty offensive, I think, just to your like whole vibe. Yeah. There's a little mark of a crescent moon stamped into the base.
Crescent moon. And I think as she looks up from it and makes eye contact with both Sunny and Bob, she inadvertently like crushes it in her hands. And it just sort of drifts down and becomes part of like the drifty rubble in her temple.
Oh, we were, it's fine.
It's something that where did this come from?
That's what I was trying to tell you. When we went to look for Trixie, it was on the floor.
This has powerful compulsion and enchantment magic. And that crescent moon. Where have I seen that?
Oh, like that company, the Crescent guys. You know, the guy with the big guy and the other guy that work in the town. You know, Crescent, it's not a moon, is it?
Yeah. Looks like we need to go find my friend Marcide and get to the bottom of this.
Do you guys how does everyone in this town know each other? I haven't met any of you all before.
Well, I get why we haven't met. I'm assuming you live in a cloud or something.
Rigaba, there's really only clouds on certain like low pressure, storm front days. But I wouldn't say I live in a cloud.
Myrtle, the last bit of your identify is you also get the last owner of this ship, because you have literally where the name was on the prow of the ship. Yeah. The last owner was a man named Jack Bracow, who you know because you love cursed things, and this is one of the most cursed dudes in Leviathan.
Oh, Jack. It's finally time for us to meet. This will be sweet. All right, I'm in. Oh, does this mean I have to?
Which lead are you kind of heading after first? Are you heading after Marcide or are you heading after Jack for the moment?
Let's go find. Shit. I like Bob a lot. I'm gonna follow up on Marcide and get to the bottom of Trixie being gone first.
Hell yes. You take off after Marcide, sort of again using magic to find your way there. Your Pearl's good at finding treasure, and because you gave Allison the Trident of Warning to Marcide, you can always just find Allison because Marcide's impossible to find. So Marcide, you have arrived in the bilge. You are approaching Jack Bracow's place. You know your quarry is in there. Go for it.
Can I see the kid through a window?
Jack, I don't think. Would you have windows in your spot or no?
No windows. It's just straight wood.
Just straight wood. It's like a sad, fucked up cell. You're looking at a not great living place.
I need to wait for them to come out because basically everything I do relies on the element of surprise. So
well, how about this? Speaking of the element of surprise, you are pretty damn surprised to watch Myrtle, Barbarella Sarsaparilla Ganglin, and Sonny Biscotto walking up with the look of people, almost like people that have like a GPS thing on their phone of like.
Then if I know they're coming and they're gonna ruin everything, the hunter's mark, do I know like the nearest wall that it is near?
Yes, you do. You either have to do the hard thing of like busting through the wall, or you have to you could wait for this kid to come out because it looks like. Yeah.
I know she'll find me. You know what? Well, actually, I get in position if I feel, because I really cannot overestimate. Everything I do requires the element of surprise. So the moment they tip anybody off that I'm here, I'm kind of ineffective. So.
Cool. Awesome. Jack and Cheese. Hey, Jack Cheese. As you are, as that thunder rolls, you begin to hear voices outside of Myrtle, Bob, and Sunny all approaching.
Man, this neighborhood, man. It's really creepy neighborhood. I haven't really been down here.
Are those your
I
friends?
just want to clarify that Myrtle is in a like little watery sphere, and she's curled up in it, and she's kind of driving it like a little watery rascal, and she looks like like all of her fins and stuff are droopy and saggy, and her makeup is the opposite of waterproof. It's not airproof, so it's all like melting off of her face.
I love it.
Awful.
As she's asked this question, you see Jack is perked up, kind of ears kind of turning that direction, goes,
Sorry, child, I don't have friends. Stand back.
and kind of puts a big arm out in a motion to kind of get the child behind him with the stone.
Rad. Cool. You guys are approaching. So you three are looking for Marseed, but Myrtle, you also know this because you're like, why are we near Jack right now? To like, you know, you're near Jack as well. So, Marseed, you see them approaching. Looks like the people inside are not coming out. Go ahead. I'll just say, give me a DC. It's pretty rotten. So just give me a DC 15 athletics check to bust through the wall.
That is 19. So A.
Incredible. Marseed, you bust through the wall. Rather than rolling initiative, I'm going to go ahead and say, let's just resolve this attack real quickly. But I will say, make your attacks with disadvantage because Jack put the kid behind him, put Cheese behind him.
I will say Cheese has his yo-yo out, and he's like building up steam, like walking the dog, like waiting for it.
Is 22 enough to hit you?
Hit me?
Almost 100%. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, you hit me twice with that number.
butt of the trident though, like boom, pow. Yeah. For 28 non-lethal.
28 non-lethal is exactly enough to put Cheese out. So crack. They call him Marseed the Typhoon for a reason. He blows down the wall in your home, Jack, knocks the kid out with the butt of a spear, and in the sort of spray of debris and rubble, Myrtle, Sunny, and Bob are all framed in the hole in Jack's wall, being like, "Oh my God, Marseed's here!"
I just look at him for a second, and I'm like, "Oh, Jack Brookhouse, been a dog's age, mate."
Jack has, after kind of sitting up to push the child behind, watching Cheese just get knocked the fuck out by and seeing Marseed, immediately just reaches down and grabs the mast and picks it up in a defensive position and just goes,
I ain't gonna ask, but I'm certainly gonna return.
And I'm gonna go after Marseed.
Sunny, Bob, Myrtle, you watch as Marseed the Typhoon and poor Jack Bracow go at it, masked, and you hear Allison try to say, "Master, I think we're in a great deal of trouble. You've lost the element of surprise, and this man is cursed to be virtually unkillable."
I think I know that I might be in danger, girl. You know? Like...
And with that, we are going to conclude our first episode as Pirates of Leviathan have come together deep in the bilge around the daughter of storms, and our Cheese is unconscious. Just wait. Tune in next week for Pirates of Leviathan. Yeah.